over to Netflix, and this is Wellmania. Wellmania. Now this is a TV show. It's I was talking last week about Australia and how all of a sudden there seems to be a lot of Australian comedy that's coming over at the moment. That's coming over to the UK and being shown up on our screens. This one is not as it's not it didn't make as big a splash as something like Calling from Accounts, like what we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, anything like that. But it's called Wellmania. It has a woman called Celeste Barber in it, who is like a comedian, and she does this whole thing where on Instagram, you know how all these celebrities, they'll post like obviously a taken picture, a professionally taken picture of like, oh, this is me with my life, I'm just having a milkshake, and she sort of like, recreates that in real life and does that, and then sort of
I've
makes
seen
fun.
those. They're
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes, yes. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about with Celeste Barber. And in this show, the whole idea behind it is that she is an Australian who works in the food journalism thing in New York. So she works in food journalism in New York. She is possibly about to get a really, really big thing that would make a career where she would end up on a TV show. But she flies back to Australia for her best friend's 40th birthday. She flies back to Australia for her best friend's 40th birthday, and while she's there at the party, she falls over. She goes to a hospital. They say, "I'm sorry, but you are just not well enough. You are not well enough to be let back into the U.S. because you become a strain on the U.S. health system." So she has to go away and she has to improve her health, all the while trying to keep everybody in America that no, no, I'm coming back. Keep the opportunity going for me. But she has to improve her health to a point where they'll give her a green card, because I didn't know this. I didn't know that if you're going to get a green for America, you have to be a certain amount of healthy, which sounds, when you look at some areas of America, it does sound a little bit hypocritical. But you have to be a certain layer of healthy so you don't put any more strain on the health system, such as it is. So what happens is you have this woman going around trying to get fit and trying all these different fads, trying to get healthy quickly enough to get back to America. In the meantime, you get to meet her family, you get to figure out that there was a reason she left Australia in the first place. You meet her mom, you meet her brother. Her brother's about to get married. You meet her brother's fiance, and as they're getting the whole wedding thing sorted, and it just becomes in some ways a meandering kind of like move around her Australian life, trying to figure out, how do I get back to America? What's actually going to happen? Who's going to? Oh, is there going to be a romance here? What goes on with my best friend? And it's good. It is distracting enough. I don't think it is as cutting as it could be, and I don't think it delivers on its initial premise of Wellmania, which is all about. It's based on a book where it was essentially this woman going through like a year of trying all the different health fads to see whether they would actually make her any better. And it's kind of does that, but then it ditches that after a while to go, let's go try something else instead and all that. And it's so, and yeah, I think it is funny in bits. I think it's funny in bits, but it's one of those things that I found it very easy to just leave. So I would watch it. It probably took me, it's about 8 episodes. It probably took me about 3 months to watch 8 episodes because I just kept watching it and then, yeah, whatever, go away. Oh, yeah, there's that thing. I guess I should finish watching it. Watch again. Okay, cool. Leave it. Come back. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll power through the last 2 episodes. And then it ends. And this ends on theme of the show, a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliffhanger that I just cannot be bothered about. I really cannot be bothered about.
Is there any famous people in it, Toast? Any famous?
Nobody I recognized. There might be people who are famous on an Australian scene because once they go to Australia, everything is it's just Australian. And it has this whole thing where they have people in it who are supposed to be American, but I'm like, that's an Australian putting on an American accent. So this whole thing was filmed in Australia. Yeah. You might have had a couple of external shots in New York, or you might need to find a place where you could make it look like, get some computer graphics in the back and make it look like New York. But everybody in this thing, I think, is in particular, there is an agent. She has an agent in New York, and she is the main American character that you meet, and you hear. Every time she opened her mouth, I was like, "You are not American." Every time she opened her mouth, I was like, "You're Australian pretending to be American." So, apart from Celeste Barber, who I only heard about by watching this show, I did not recognize anybody else in this show. Nobody else in the show. But I would give it a 3 out of 5. I would say it is distracting enough. It's this seems to be like Netflix's comedies, distracting enough, and you can put up in the background and you can just sort of like let go. So yeah, it's I would give Wellmania a 3 out of 5. So all that is